Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am Ms. Myriapoda, lecturer in biology at Government Degree College for Women, Hexapods. Today in zoology, we will discuss about insects. As you can see their images, they have bigger compound eyes, circulation and temperature regulation. There is blood circulation. The blood vessels are less well developed in insects. Blood distributes various things like nutrients, hormones, wastes, and amoeboid cells. It participates in body defense and repair mechanisms. Blood is not important in gas transport in insects. Then they have to maintain their body temperature by a process which is called thermoregulation. Number one, there are different categories. Ectotherms. Thermoregulation is necessary for flying insects. All insects warm themselves by basking in the sun. Basking means that to gain heat from external source or resting on warm surfaces. Images of ectotherms. Images of flying insects, like you can see grasshopper, dragonfly, aphids. Here comes definition of basking. The absorption of heat energy of the sun by sitting under sun is called basking. They use external heat sources in temperature regulation. Therefore, insects are ectotherms. Ecto means outside and therm means heat. Second category is heterotherms. Other insects like moths, alpine bumblebees, beetles, they can generate or produce heat by rapid contraction of muscles. This process is called Shivering Thermogenesis. That is, they contract their muscles and they produce heat. Images of heterotherms. Thermogenesis. Therm means heat and genesis means production. Production of heat. It can raise the temperature of thoracic muscles, but some insects rely or depend on a limited metabolic heat sources, so they have variable or changing body temperatures. Insects are also able to cool themselves by moving in cool, moist habitats. That is, they adapt different kind of areas to live. Honeybees beat their wings at the entrance of the hive. They circulate the cooler air outside through the hive and thus cool their hives. Nervous and sensory functions. Number one is nervous system. The pattern arrangement of their nervous system is similar to other arthropods. Supraesophageal ganglion. It is associated with sensory structures of the head, like they can feel or receive different things. Second is subesophageal ganglion. Connectives, as the name suggests, that they connect or join the supraesophageal ganglion to the subesophageal ganglion. This ganglion connects the mouth parts and salivary glands. It has a general excitatory or great influence on other body parts. Third are segmental ganglia. The segmental ganglia of the thorax and abdomen fuse or unite to various degrees in different groups. Fourth are visceral or internal nervous system. Insects also possess a well-developed visceral nervous system, and its function is to connect the gut, reproductive organs, and heart. There is also learning behavior in insects. The insects are capable of some learning as they have memory. For example, the bees recognize flower-like objects by their shape and have ability to absorb UV light or ultraviolet light. The bee is given nectar, juice, and pollen. It learns the order or smell of the flower. Bees that feed once at artificially scented feeders, that is, if they are given an artificial medium, then they can choose that order or smell of flowers in 90% of the feeding trials or experiments. So order and smell is more constant or same than shape and color. Therefore, it is very reliable cue or signal for bees. Then insects also have sense organs. Sense organs of insects are similar to those of other arthropods, but their sense organs are usually specialized for functioning on land. Number 1 are mechanoreceptors. They detect physical displacement of the body parts. Second are CT. They are distributed over different body parts like mouth parts, antenna, legs. Touch, air movements, vibrations of the surface or substrate can displace CT. Third are stretch receptors. They are present at joints, on other parts of cuticle layer, and on muscles. Their function is to monitor or check the muscle position or posture. Fourth is hearing. It is a mechanoreceptor sense. Waves displace certain receptors. So all insects can respond to pressure waves with the help of distributed CT over different parts of body. Some other insects have specialized receptors for hearing. These are, number 1 is Johnson's organ. Johnson's organs are present at the base of the antenna of most insects. Example is mosquitoes. They have also long CT, which vibrate when certain frequencies of sounds strike them or hit them. It vibrates the antenna of these insects. Vibrating CT moves the antenna in its socket or depression. It stimulates the sensory cells over there. Sound waves in the frequency range of 500 to 550 CPS or cycles per second attract for mating behavior in male mosquitoes. The waves of this frequency are produced by the wings of females. Second organs are tympanal organs. Tympanal organs are present in the legs of insects like crickets and in the abdomen of insects like grasshoppers, some moths, and in the thorax of other insects. Tympanal organ consists of thin cuticular membrane. This membrane covers a large air sac. This air sac acts as a resonating chamber. Resonate means to sound or to vibrate. Sensory cells are present just under the membrane of this air sac. They detect pressure waves. Grasshoppers' tympanal organs can detect sounds of about 1000 to 50,000 CPS or cycles per second. Bilateral. Bi means two and lateral means sides, that is two-sided. Placement of tympanal organs allow insects to differentiate between different things like direction and origin of sound, that is from where sound is coming. Fifth are chemoreceptors. As the name suggests, chemo means chemicals. Insects use chemoreceptors in feeding, selection of egg sites, their mate location, and social organization. Chemoreceptors are abundant on the mouth parts, antenna, legs, and ovipositors. They take the form of hair, pegs. Pegs means nail-like structure, plates, and pits. Now, what is ovipositor? A new term. Ovipositor is a tube-like organ in animals or insects which they use for laying of eggs. They have one or more pores. Chemicals move in or diffuse through these pores and bind to the nerve endings. Sixth are compound eyes. All insects can detect light. They use light for various purposes like orientation, direction, navigation to find their way, feeding, or other functions. Compound eyes are well developed in most adult insects. They are similar in structure and function to arthropods. Zoologists debate their possible homology, that is, common ancestry. Their eyes have evolved from the eyes of crustaceans. Which crustaceans? As horseshoe crabs, trilobites. Trilobites are marine fossils. They live in marine environments. Structure of compound eye. Compound eyes consist of up to 28,000 receptors or units which are called ommatidia. The ommatidia are fused or united into a multifaceted eye. Multi means many and facet means faces or sides. Ommatidia have the following parts. Number one is lens. The outer surface of each ommatidium is a lens. Ommatidia are plural, while ommatidium is singular. This lens forms one facet or face of the eye. As you can see, the significance of compound eyes, definitely they help in detecting different things, and its structure is mentioned. Crystalline cone. It is present just below the lens. The lens and crystalline cone are actually light gathering structures. They collect light. Third is retinula cells. These are very special cells of ommatidium. Retinula has special light collecting area which is called as rhabdome. The rhabdome converts light energy into nerve impulses which have to be distributed in the body. Fourth are pigment cells. These cells surround the crystalline cone and rhabdome. Pigment cells prevent light from reflecting into an adjacent ommatidium. There is different structures and their functions are mentioned. Now, what are the typical functions of compound eye? Many insects form an image, but this image has no real significance for most species. The compound eye is used for detecting movements. That is, they are clearly explaining you what is the purpose of this compound eye, to detect movements. Compound eye can detect movement of a point of light. This light successively reflects into the adjacent ommatidia. For this reason, bees are attracted to flowers. They can clearly see the flowers which are blowing in the wind. Similarly, the predatory insects select moving prey. Compound eyes detect colors or wavelengths of light that the human eye can't detect. That is, their eyes work very strongly. Compound eyes of insects, you can see image. They are big enough and they have ommatidia, crystalline cone. Compound eyes can detect the ultraviolet end of the spectrum. Spectrum, as you know, is range of colors. Compound eyes of some insects can also detect polarized light. Now, what is polarized light? It is used for various purposes like navigation, helps insects to find their way and orientation in specific direction they move. Seventh are ocelli. They consist of 500 to 1000 receptor cells. These receptor cells are present just beneath a cuticular lens. Images of ocelli, they are present in compound eyes. Ocelli are sensitive to the changes in light intensities, so they are involved in the regulation of daily rhythms. Daily rhythms means there is a biological clock to which insects respond.